Today, we are going to cover the subject of corporate social responsibility, that is CSR. So, when I first heard of corporate social responsibility, uh, one thing that popped into my head was the Cain and Abel story. For those who are not familiar with the Cain and Abel story, let me just explain the story. Uh, In the biblical book of Genesis, Cain and Abel are the first two sons of Adam and Eve. Cain was the first son, and Abel was second son, and uh, anyhow, the Cain killed his younger brother Abel, and the Lord said to Cain, "Where is Abel, your brother?" And Cain said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" So, this phrase, "I don't know about him. Am I my brother's keeper? Why should I take the responsibility for my brother's welfare?" Okay, I think this is a very heartbreaking story. And whenever I hear corporate social responsibility, I hear the same phrase. I do not know about society. Why should I take the responsibility of the society? I'm just a corporation. So that's that's the reason why we are studying corporate social responsibility. So we'd like to know whether there is any social responsibility for a corporation. So uh, corporate social corporate social responsibility corresponds to chapter 4 of our textbook. And before we proceed, I'd like to see the corporation and the society, what we mean by society and what we mean by corporation. Okay. First, corporation is organized for making profits, but as a corporate responsible citizen, corporation also has social responsibility. That's what we are saying. That's our reasoning. And uh, before we talk about the society around the corporation, we'd like to know uh, what we mean by corporation. When we say a corporation is responsible for the society, what we are talking about uh, the the corporation's uh, responsibility. Okay, so uh, there's a corporate governance. We are going to hear corporate governance many times in this class, and to explain corporate governance, we'd like to give you some very important concept. So to own a thing is to have a bundle of rights with respect to that thing. So when you own something, we have rights related with uh, the thing. Okay. So one of the standard instance of ownership is control. When we own something, we have the rights about the thing, and we have a control over the thing. So uh, when we are talk when we talk about this about the corporation, a firm is managed in the interest of a certain party. P is to give P control over it. So the P is the shareholder. Okay. So shareholders has the rights to control the corporation. So if we want to change the corporation, the right part uh, is the corporation's head. Okay. So that is related with the concept of governance, corporate governance. Shareholders' ownership of the firm means the right to control the firm, and that also, in turn, means the firm is run in their interest. So, to change a corporation, we have to deal with the shareholder, okay, the the owners of a corporation. That's why we are interested in the responsible investing, okay. That's one of the ways to change a corporation in a rightful way. So, when we talk about corporate governance, there's very famous debate over corporate governance. Uh, as early as in 1930s, two American lawyers, Adolph A. Burr Jr. and E. Merrick Dodd, had a famous public debate about the question: to whom are corporations accountable? So this means what is the basic role and function of corporations in capitalist society? About this question, Burr argued that the management of corporations should be held accountable only to shareholders for their actions. So Mr. Burr is not talking about the social responsibility, but Dodd, on the other hand, argued that the corporations are accountable to both the society and their shareholders. So this kind of debate is very has very long history. Okay, but though there were some debates over the corporate governance. Okay, uh, the corporation is responsible or not responsible for the society kind of question concerning the proper ends of corporate governance. Shareholder primal theory is uh, the right theory, has been the right theory. So in the shareholder primal theory, they say firms should be managed in the best interest of shareholders. Okay, because shareholders are the owners of a corporation. So as we talked about the the ownership and control and rights. Okay, so they are very naturally having the right uh, for the corporation. So managing firms in shareholders' best interest requires maximizing their wealth. So in 1980s, when we were learning business administration, the, the our charter or the first lesson uh, goes like this: the a corporation, the the purpose of a corporation is to maximize shareholder wealth. Okay, and when I heard such a thing, such a phrase, I couldn't understand because at the time we have taught, we have been taught that a corporation exists for the society, but we were entering the first chapter of capitalist society and corporation at the time, but now it's changing. Anyhow, shareholder primacy was the dominant view about the ends of corporate governance among financial professionals and in business schools. Okay, understand the shareholder primacy theory. Let's get back to the origin of a corporation. Okay, a corporation is organized for making money or making profit. Okay, the shareholders gather their money to build a corporation. Okay, that's why the corporation exists. So, shareholder primacy theory is a very rightful statement from the economic point. Okay, but uh, historically there have been some changes about the corporation. Okay? Who is the owner of a corporation? In the old days, there was an owner view. In the owner view, the owner, okay, he is the he's the company itself. In this case, his stance is summarized like I am the company, and in this case, company exists for his family, and shareholders are his guests. Okay, So he has the right to take care of the guests in whatever way he chooses. Okay. Until recently, in the Korean corporate culture, I think this is one of the prevalent uh, standpoint, okay, of the owners who are managing the corporation. And there came the shareholder view. So Milton Friedman may be the one of the most famous speaker for the shareholder theory, and they are saying that the only one social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. And to some extent, these are very rightful statement. Okay, and then there comes stakeholder view. Okay, they are saying that profit is just a means to the bigger purpose. This is Charles Handy's speech. Okay, and in some extreme cases, like Lynn Stout, she is the professor at the very Yale or Harvard University Law School, and she was saying that shareholders own membership, not ownership. So what she was saying was very revolutionary because she's saying the shareholders uh, own just membership, just like the the golf club. They are not owners, but they are just members of a corporation. I think this is very revolutionary, and I, frankly speaking, don't understand uh, whether it's right or wrong. Anyhow, what's important is that our corporations are still in the owner view stage. Many of the managers of the corporation or the major shareholders of a corporation in Korea are acting like the king, okay? And he just treats the shareholders just like his guest, but they are actually on one. They, in this case, uh, this one-man show manager uh, does not give proper concern to the other shareholders, and he just considers them to be guests, okay, not as a partner. Okay, so just watching their behavior, we cannot but come to conclude that they are taking owner's view. Okay, so in this stage, what's really important is to understand the shareholders are their rightful partners. Okay, so they have to take care of the partner, and they have to do their best to maximize the shareholder wealth, their partner's wealth. That's what we have learned in the agent theory. Okay, as an agent, they are just an agent, so they have to take care of the principal, and they have to have some kind of fiduciary duty over their partner, their other shareholders. So I think this is also very stand a very good reason. Okay, but this is not 100% right. Okay, they also should accept their their duty as a responsible citizen. Okay, so for the society, they should feel some kind of responsibility. Okay, so uh, what they are saying is right, but in the at the same time, this may be wrong. Profit is just a means to the bigger purpose, and I'm not sure whether they can say the same thing if they have such a big corporation. Okay? If they are running his own corporation, I'm not sure whether they can say such a thing. Okay, and in this case, Lin Stout case, I don't think this is legal expression because shareholder ownership is not the membership; it's the ownership. Okay, anyhow, to some extent, we have to accept the social responsibility of a corporation. Okay? About the shareholder view, Milton Friedman represent the shareholders' view. And for those who don't know about Milton Friedman, let me briefly explain who he is. He's an American economist who received the 1976 Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences. So, with George Stigler and others, Friedman was among the intellectual leaders of the second generation of Chicago price theory, a methodological movement at the University of Chicago's Department of Economics, Law School, and Graduate School of Business from the 1940s onward. So uh, he wrote very famous phrase, sentences, uh, like there is one and only one social responsibility of business to use its resources and engage in activities designed to increase its profits so long as it stays within the rules of the game, which is to say, engages in open and free competition without deception or fraud. That's his point of view about the social responsibility of a business or a corporation. Uh, but I think that's too extreme. The one and only one social responsibility of business is to increase its profits. I'm not sure how many of you agree with this kind of view. But anyhow, he is telling the the principles, okay, of a corporation. So this is called the Friedman doctrine. So Milton Friedman takes a shareholder approach to social responsibility. This approach views shareholders as the economic engine of the organization and the only group to which the firm must be socially responsible. So as such, the goal of the firm is to maximize profits and return a portion of those profits to shareholders as a reward for the risk they took in investing in the firm. I think this is absolutely right from the standpoint of economics. He advocates that the shareholders can then decide for themselves what social initiatives to take part initiatives to take part in rather than having their appointed executive whom they appointed for business reasons decide for them. Okay, this is agent. Okay. So Friedman argued that the company should have no social responsibility to the public or society. So I think this is a kind of extreme view, okay, uh, of the social responsibility of a corporation. Okay. So here's the shareholder theory. These are shareholder theory. So this means this states that the firm should be managed in the best interest of shareholders. This is right, okay? But the one and only purpose of a corporation is the shareholder wealth maximization may have some antagonisms in the society. Anyhow, firm should be managed in the best interest of shareholders means manage firms in shareholders' best interest and maximizing a shareholders' wealth. Okay, this is the utmost purpose of a corporation, but this may not be the whole purpose of a corporation. So, shareholder primacy is the dominant view about the ends of corporate governance among financial professionals and in business schools, as I said before. So, for this kind of statement, there are some reasoning behind this this principle. Then that is managing firms in the interest of shareholder is proved to be more efficient than managing them in any other way. Actually, a corporation with some owner can be managed in a more efficient way. That's right. Okay. If managers are not given a single objective that is clear and measurable, vis-a-vis maximizing shareholder value, then they will have an enhanced opportunity for self-dealing. Okay. So this is a major principle. So manager should be given a single objective that is clear and measurable. So in this pragmatistic purposes, shareholder theory holds. Okay, and on this argument, shareholders own the firm and hire managers to run it for them on the condition that the firm is managed in their interests. This is the basic condition of a corporation's management. Okay, but some argue that shareholders do not own the firm. They own stock, a type of corporate security, but the firm itself may be unowned. I think this is some minority opinion. Okay? But still, there's this kind of argument about the social responsibility of corporation. And there's some other argument that managers do not make explicitly or implicitly any promise to shareholders to manage the firm in a certain way. Okay, this is also some kind of minority view.